Yo guys, welcome back to Stock Talk Insider. Today I will be talking about AMD and also about the NVIDIA and Intel news, what AMD has to do with it, what will this mean for the competition, and a little bit about where AMD will go because of this. But of course nobody knows, but again we can have some thoughts on how this can work out, and in my opinion nothing really is gonna change, besides that the stock will sell off a little bit. But again, the market of this segment is such a big market that all of these companies will have such a big market share and the chance to expand their revenues in nice upsides. So the AI industry is expanding at an unprecedented pace. Demand for computing power is surging, and in this environment AMD has established itself as a key player with a strong competitive foundation. So the NVIDIA and Intel partnership is that recently NVIDIA announced a $5 billion investment in Intel alongside a new strategic partnership. This certainly represents a stronger competitive front, and the market reacted quickly, but does it truly change the long-term outlook for AMD? So competition is real. Yes, the partnership strengthens competition. When two major players team up, it can shift dynamics in certain segments, yet the AI market is projected to grow at double-digit rates through the end of this decade. The space is so vast that no single alliance only can capture it all. Instead, it underscores how valuable leadership in AI has become and how seriously AMD has been taken. So AMD has proven some strength in its products and leadership. So with the EPYC processors, AMD powers the world's largest data centers, delivering unmatched performance per watt and winning contracts with the following companies: Microsoft Azure, AWS of Amazon, and the Google Cloud, which are very big ones. With its Instinct MI300 series GPU, AMD is tackling the most demanding AI workloads. These accelerators are already being adopted by hyperscalers and supercomputing centers, including the El Capitan supercomputer at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. Also Tesla, which leverages AMD's chips in its infotainment and AI systems for vehicles, showing the trust placed in AMD and in mission-critical applications. Meta has also partnered with AMD for large-scale AI infrastructure, further validating AMD's role in powering next-generation platforms. And for consumers and professionals, Ryzen CPUs and Radeon GPUs remain highly competitive in PCs and gaming. So financial proof is that in Q2 2025, AMD reported a record revenue of $7.7 billion with strong margins and growth across data center, client, and gaming. These results prove that AMD's technology is not only competitive, it is actively gaining share in critical markets. Talking about its record revenue, if we go to the chart, we can see all of the earnings quarters. We have here the last one. The estimate of this quarter was, we'll look at the estimate, it was around 7.4 billion. For next quarter, it's already more than $1 billion more in estimate. If you know that AMD normally doesn't go over $1 billion in growth per quarter. So talking about all of these quarters, we have like from February 25 of, actually this was the last quarter of 24, which was it was reporting last quarter of 24, and the estimate was 7.5 billion, and the next quarter they were actually lower than what they were doing the quarter before, which was the last quarter of 24, and in the first quarter of 25 they reported an estimate of 7.1 billion. So talking about this is that those were different. This was a bad one. Well, this was a slight miss, but again, this was also lower than 7 billion. This was not even in the 6 billion. So what I mean is that in the last quarters, they just did some earnings which were never above and a lot above 1 billion in difference per quarter. So now to have the intrinsic value of what I mean is that the estimate now is 7.4 billion. the estimate then is already 8.7. And this is actually one of the first quarters where we will really see some growth in AMD and in what it's actually doing, and why this is a very strong company in this space, and why this is certainly one of the competitors to be number 2 behind NVIDIA. There are also talks that they will probably go over 9 billion in revenue, and if not, maybe going to 10 billion. But if they go to the lines, to the highs of 10 billion in coming quarter, then that will diabolical and the stock will go up very much. Of course, today we're down 5% because of the news. But again, maybe this is just another buying opportunity, of course. I am still waiting a little bit because I already have a lot of shares, of course. But I just wanted to mention that, you just see in earnings pace that they are pacing up a little bit and that the growth is accelerating. But in percentages, you also could have seen that in last quarter. But again, this was another way of, visualize looking at the earnings. But yeah. So the ecosystem and adoption is that AMD's open source ROCm software ecosystem further drives adoption among developers and enterprises. This open approach contrasts with closed ecosystem and gives AMD long-term credibility with engineers and large-scale customers. Strategic outlook is that the NVIDIA and Intel alliance brings tougher competition, but it does not erase AMD's momentum or chances. If anything, it validates AMD's role actually in a way that it is as a formidable rival that both companies feel the need to counter. Where Intel and NVIDIA must combine forces, AMD has shown it can stand strong on its own, winning businesses with Azure, AWS, Google, Meta, and Tesla, and that are only one of the biggest names. So, conclusion, the bottom line is that competition in AI is intensifying, but AMD is already proving its strength with a robust product portfolio, adoption by the world's largest cloud providers and leading innovators, record-setting revenues, and a roadmap built for AI. AMD is well positioned for explosive growth in market large enough, and the market is large enough for multiple winners. So, having said that, I just want to mention you guys my position. So everything is green, but because of AMD, we are down, and that is because this is one of the most bigger positions. But still, we are nice in the green. What I do want to mention is that if it goes slightly lower than it is already, I'll probably buy more, but still it is one of the bigger positions. Because of that, I'm slightly giving the chance up to buy and just stay with the amount of shares I have right now. But for the long term, looking 3 to 4 years, this stock could easily go to like $300, which is, if it goes to $300, it will be probably around 250 euros, and 400 is probably around 320 euros, 330 euros. So still, it is a nice profit, and it's literally a stock that I can sleep good on and have no stress about, because this one will do very great and very good, and it is just beating all expectations in my opinion. So yeah, I'm staying long on AMD, and I'll probably buy more if the price goes a little more down. But again, I've already bought a nice amount on 128 when it went down with the Broadcom news, but again, it will just go up again like it did with the Broadcom news from a week or two ago. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. If you have something to say about this news or about AMD or the other companies like NVIDIA, Intel, let me know. I always want to know. And leave a like. Thanks for watching.